Hi, welcome to Gemini Star Spiritual Wellness. I'm thankful that you're here today. I'm excited that you're here. And as always, please like and subscribe. Hit the like button so that this video will go out to other people that need to see it. And also hit the subscribe button so that you will get future videos that I put out. So today's video is the weekly read. So we're doing the weekly read for the week of June 22nd to 28th. So the weekly tarot reading. So let's see what are going to be the energies for the collective for the week of June 22nd to 28th. We're going to get right into it. And as always, please take what resonates in this reading and leave what doesn't behind. Everything might not resonate with you just because a lot of people will be watching this video. And this video is for the collective. So it's for everybody that's watching or who's going to watch the video. So let's see. There seems to have been a pretty constant theme the last couple weeks of the weekly reads. So it's always interesting to see. I always like doing these to see what the next week's going to bring and if it's going to continue this theme. So for the week of June 22nd to 28th. All right. Almost there. I like to shuffle the cards pretty well. All right, let's see where we're going with this for the week. All right, here we go. All right, let's see what we have. I'll say out the cards as I pull them. The Lovers, Five of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles, the Emperor. Fix my little cloth here on the table, but under the computer. Here we go. Ooh, Four of Pentacles. We have the Nine of Wands, and we have Death. Okay, so I'm looking at this from a kind of a global collective way, in that in that way, but it could also go for in your personal life as well. It might resonate with you that way as well. So looking into the past, the foundations that were built, working together to build the foundations, I feel like that's changing. So there's things going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. Things happening, big things happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. And this is the collective for this week. And I see in this card, to me, looking at it right now, what I'm feeling is there's a divide between the masculine and feminine energy. Because when you look at this card, they're not together. You see there's like a little mountain right here between the two people. So there's kind of a division going on. And there's been a sense of lack and struggle with the collective, with the Five of Pentacles. And it's like in the past, the collective, we had this, this is like a teamwork card, working together, building a firm foundation. But I feel like the foundations that were built, societal structures, institutions, things that were built, they're changing. And there's this sense of loss and, feeling kind of like struggling, this sense of struggling. When I look at this card, a lot of times I feel like this kind of sense of struggling and dread, because you can see the people on the card, they're, he's got a crutch and she's, they're in snow and they're struggling to walk. But But what's interesting to me is there's emperor energy in this. So it's like an emperor energy. This card's like a fire sign card, Aries card. And it's like things are moving forward. So you've got the fire of change, kind of like refiner's fire. How fire, like when the phoenix, it dies, it comes back, and it's flames, and it changes. And it's like a refiner's fire. So it's kind of like we're going from this place of lack and loss and struggling, and things are changing out of those old foundations that were built in the past. They're no longer relevant to where we're going as a collective in the future and on the global scale. And the collective, there's a sense of polarity, like I said, the divine masculine, feminine, but a sense of polarity between the two. And there's things going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, that we're not consciously aware of yet or know about. But I feel like this emperor energy, it's kind of like it's bringing it together. So it's taking that polarity, it's taking the feeling of struggling and loss and being, feeling that way, and it's kind of like moving forward. So it's like this sense of energy. It's kind of like when I'm looking at this card, what's coming to me is, a sense of, divine, like it's divine guidance, divine energy moving things forward. um At least that's what's coming to me when I'm looking at it. So it's kind of like taking action. Things are taking action. We're moving forward. Like I said, fire, refiner's fire, going through it. But when we come through it on the other side, we're going to be so much better. So I feel like this week coming up, there's going to be an emphasis on polarity. There's going to be emphasis on struggling and loss and feeling, kind of overwhelmed this week, because that's the current energy. And with the emperor, I feel like it's bringing it in. It's kind of like reminding us that there's a divine path in place, a divine plan, and it's moving forward. So it's kind of like, don't fret, that this is just a temporary space of going through this process. But, there's like, how can I say it? The divine's in control. That's what I'm trying to say. And there's a divine plan in place. But in the near future, it's going to be, you see how he's holding on to these pentacles. It's like he doesn't want to let go of them. In the future, I think people are going to want to not just hold on to money, because these pentacles, but it's like tangible things. So it could be more than just, money, monetary things, but it could be material possessions, but kind of hoarding it, kind of afraid of the change and afraid of what's going on. So they're wanting to hold on to it, because of this energy that's coming up this week with the loss and anxiety and struggling and, the polarity. It's like there's this whole sense of uncertainty. So the collective wants to kind of hoard what they have, or they're afraid to let go. It's kind of like they're being miserly and holding on to it. But I also see as holding on to not just material possessions, but holding on to these old structures and foundations that are no longer in alignment with where we're going. And it's kind of like, just wanting to hunker down and hold on to all of that together. Um, Definitely the advice from the universe is like, okay, we've been through some battles. The Nine of Wands here. You can see he looks kind of beat up in the card. If you could see, he's got the little bandages on him. So he's not to the point where he's at the 10 yet, where it's over, but we're right at the end of it. So where it's like we're at the end of this, of feeling this way, the overwhelm, the struggling, the anxiety, the polarity. We're at the end of that. And it's like, we're at towards the end. I mean, we've been beaten up and gone through some battles. I mean, I'm talking just figuratively, right? But we've been beaten up and gone through it, but we're almost at the end of it. It's just like, hang on just a little bit longer. And because we've got this card coming. So we've got some endings and new beginnings coming in. And one thing about the death card that is interesting to me, it's, a transformative card, transformation occurring. But if you look right here, you see the little sun in the background there, at the end of that little path. So it's like, it's kind of like transformation to a better place, to a better ending, to a better way of being. And I feel like that's definitely what's going on. And I think with that emperor energy, I'm feeling like just trust a divine plan, just trust in it. Even though all this stuff's going on globally, the struggling, the loss, anxiety, the polarity, all these kind of negative things that people are feeling right now. It's like trust the plan and hang in there, because the crushing of those old foundations has to happen. Like those old, we're no longer in alignment with those old structures and those old institutions or organizations. It's time to let that go. And it's going to be hard for some people because they're going to be in this energy of wanting to hold on to it, because that's all they know. That's where their whole belief systems are structured around those old structures and institutions, and that it's their whole sense of reality, so they're holding on to it. But there also could be, like, like I said earlier, some material possessions, like wanting to hold on to money or hold on to things that way because you're feeling uncertain, or you're feeling nervous, or you don't feel secure in your situation. So, and everything that's going on is making you anxious and wanting to hold on to it. But what I feel the universe is saying with these two cards together is, yeah, we've been beat up over here, but we're at the very tail end of it. And things are going to start swiftly changing, because this is, wand energy. It's quick. Things are going to swiftly start changing and transitioning to a better place. So these new beginnings are coming in. So we're in that transition period right now of ending this cycle, ending this, and going into a new cycle, a new beginning with a bright ending, with going into a better cycle, a better way. But I think the struggle this week is going to be how not to succumb to those feelings of negativity, anxiety, feel like suffering, loss, being worried, the polarity that you feel, as a global collective, how not to give in to that, um, and how not to feel so scared and worried and uncertain that you're holding on to these old ways of doing things, these old beliefs, these old, material possessions or anything like that that makes you feel safe, because holding on to it is just it's not going to stop the changes that are coming, but it's going to make it harder to adjust to the changes, because you're holding on to that old energy. And from what I've, my time working with energy, one of the things I found out is, if you don't let go of it, the universe will come in and force you to let go of it and be like, all right, you're fighting getting on the right path. You're fighting against this energy. You're not letting go. So we're going to help you along. And it's like, boom. And then something happens. And that's when you have a tower moment, and something happens, and it's, it pushes you onto the correct path, but it forces you to let go of whatever you weren't wanting to let go of and hold on to. And I think, the reason why people feel that way is because they don't see what's coming. They don't see the positive things that are coming in the future. So they're just staying in the moment of being afraid and fearful and holding on to things, but it's like they're not seeing this transition happening into something that's going to be so much better. So I think in the near future, we're going to see a lot of people struggling with letting go of things. And it could be on a personal level, it could be letting go of things in your life that are no longer in alignment with you, whether it's relationships or jobs or whatever, things that are holding you back. It could be a struggle personally with that. So I feel like people are going to be struggling probably both with it on a personal level, but also on a global collective level, of letting go of the past beliefs, past institutions, past foundations that were built that are no longer in alignment with where we're going as a collective into the new earth, because those things have to be done away with in order for us to move into the new earth. So I feel like that's going to be the struggle in the near future, is letting go of it. But I feel like it's going to be a very intense week with these energies. But I feel like I just keep feeling with that Emperor card, what keeps coming to me is that, there is a divine plan. And we have to keep our mindset on that. And even though it doesn't feel like it, it feels like things are crazy and but there is a plan in place, and we just have to trust that. And it's fire energy, it's action, and it's moving forward. Like right now, the plan's in place, probably behind the scenes, because I said earlier, is things that are happening we don't know about. Behind the scenes, it's doing this plan, this divine plan is unfolding, and like fire, it's moving forward, it's taking action, but it's also refiner's fire of cleansing us and helping us to let go of things and helping us to change those foundations from the past and helping us to get out of this negative energy. So I think we just have to keep focused this week on the divine, plan and path forward, and that, divine's looking out for us. And everything's falling into place as it's meant to. And I know sometimes that can be very difficult. But I feel, just hang in there. I mean, I feel like we're at the end, almost the end of this, close to the end. We're almost at that 10, it's a 9. And I think you're going to see a lot of this transition period, transformative period going on over the next couple months, where these things are going to be happening. But it looks like this week coming up, this particular week, the 22nd through the 28th, is going to be pretty intense. But just hang in there. And it's just funny because this spread is so similar to what I've seen coming. And I feel like the last couple weeks when I've been doing the weekly reads, it's like the intensity I can feel in the cards, the intensity is getting stronger and stronger. Like the energy is getting stronger and stronger every week that I'm doing these readings. And I can see it. And I definitely feel it's really strong with this reading here today. So that's what I have for you. Hope you enjoyed the reading, and we'll see what next week brings. So have a good day. Bye-bye.